Teach children the nature of and possibilities for good and evil in the principle of habit.
Welcome back to River Queen Conjure, No Narc Network TV, and Oshun Ajay exclusive. I am the Oracle, Oshun Ajay. As you can see, there has been a slight change of plans in the book study. I have decided to make the Emerald Tablet study a Patreon-only private book study, so I suggest that you join Oshun Ajay exclusive if you want to join the Emerald Tablet book study. However, the good news is that we will continue dissecting the devil on YouTube, okay? There will be some bonus lessons that you can access only in the private group, but since I started this lesson on YouTube, I am going to go ahead and offer this information to the rest of the world. If you would like to join the Emerald Tablet book study, join us in Oshun Ajay exclusive, okay? This is lesson 22, my people. I'm not going to hold you up. Let's get it.
Teach children the nature of and possibilities for good and evil in the principle of habit, using as illustrations with which to dramatize the subject to the everyday experiences of children and adults.
In order to accomplish our goal of raising a generation of human beings who will be stronger, better, and wiser than we were, it is imperative that we give them the knowledge of both good and evil as early as possible. Simple illustrated cartoons such as this one do communicate subconsciously to a child who maybe not even be able to speak the difference between light and darkness, between good and bad, between God and devil energy. Okay? So for those creating content for children going forward, if you create your content with the goal in mind of teaching the children about both good and evil, they will be better equipped to navigate their way through the world without so much confusion.
Teach children how habits become fixed through the laws of hypnotic rhythm, and influence them to adopt, while in the lower grades, habits that will lead to independent thought. Teach children the difference between temporary defeat and failure, and show them how to search for the seed of an equivalent advantage which comes with every circumstance of defeat. Teach children to express their own thoughts fearlessly, and to accept or reject at will all ideas of others, reserving to themselves always the privilege of relying upon their own judgment. Teach children to reach decisions promptly and to change them, if at all, slowly and with reluctance, and never without a definite reason. Teach children that the human brain is the instrument with which one receives from the great storehouse of nature, the energy which is specialized into definite thoughts.
The human brain is the instrument with which one receives from the great storehouse of nature, okay? And the human brain is the physical equivalent of the human mind, which is spiritual, okay? And when we activate our crown chakra, which is the energy center connected to the human mind, okay? And when we open that crown chakra to the divine, our human mind is the instrument with which we receive from the infinite storehouse of the divine, which we call the Akashic records. Okay?
And this time I will be sharing so-called mystical experiences. This is the stuff that normally is only shared among God brothers or in intimate circles. But these times pressing, a lot of rules have been broken regarding teaching the public. So my inner guidance has been bugging me a long time to share these things that I have told very few people before. So you will be hearing a lot of far-out stuff. It's not ghost stories. I think it's way beyond that. And please don't judge. Use me as a truth meter, as a sounding board, so to say. I think personally that listening to stories like this will raise the vibration. It will expand your awareness. And probably things like this have happened to you too, but you may not have seen the significance or just pushed it out of your subconscious, out of your conscious into your subconscious. And so I think if you're attracted to this, there will be some information that will be very useful for you. So enjoy. The following are some mystical experiences that are probably commonplace for any experienced yogi, but initially they kind of blew my mind, and I think they also give some insight again into higher realities. Well, I think the first time I had such an encounter was I was in my teens, and I was driving freehand on my bicycle, singing a guru song. I was just in bliss, in love, and suddenly I feel in my crown chakra this pulling, above my head. I feel this pulling, and also like a guilt feeling. And so I know that's not me. So I look around, and about 50, 70 yards away, I see this Catholic priest, old Catholic priest, 75 years old, can hardly walk, like shuffles, like with half footsteps along, looks at me from the corner, is afraid to look at me, so I drive down with my bicycle, I check him out, and, the crown chakra is open, this pulling above the head, and then this big guilt. Well, he was a Catholic priest, and I didn't know at that time about the abuses, but that would explain his guilt. But his crown chakra was open. He knew reality. He knew higher reality. He was not just a scholar. that was just one of many experiences. Again, in Sri Lanka, many times, when I was on a bus, suddenly, I feel this pulling above my head, and I look around, and, then I see one of those old, humble country folks sitting there, shyly looking at me. Oh, you caught me. Somehow they were amazed, probably, that a white guy, one of those stupid tourists, could catch them with their crown chakra open, and could do it themselves. This is a resonant thing. They have the ability, and it happens with them. I have the ability, and then somehow our high selves connect through the opening of the crown chakra. So again, several times, a person walks into a room, or I walk into a room or into a hall, and suddenly, immediately the first look in the hall, I feel the crown chakra is open, and there is a crown chakra link with the person all the way at the other end of the hall. The eyes look immediately. Everybody knows what is happening. Probably cannot explain. There's a merging on the third eye and above. And you might feel it right now too. My crown chakra is like blazingly open, and just through those memories. And so, yeah. And most of the time, it's probably somehow on a high self level you connect. I'm not sure whether it's, in some cases, it was definitely an indication of common past lives, of a higher form, more conscious form, I would say. Or just like, these were like high selves were just saying goodbye. Hey, hello, we are of the same vibration. This is going to be interesting. Let's just connect and see, whether those on the ground station here, us in the 3D body, will figure anything out. This is basically what is happening. And that is actually also part of White Tantra. But that would be maybe a different video. I hope that helps. I love you. Namaste.
Namaste.
That the brain does not think, but serves as an instrument for the interpretation of stimuli which cause thought. Teach children the value of harmony in their own minds, and that this is attainable only through self-control. Teach children the nature and the value of self-control. Teach children that there is a law of increasing returns which can be and should be put into operation as a matter of habit, by rendering always more service and better service than is expected of them. Teach children the true nature of the Golden Rule, and above all show them that through the operation of this principle, everything they do to and for another, they also do to and for themselves.
My question is, how can we understand law of karma in Hinduism?
The law of karma. There are certain man-made laws, and there are certain universal laws, not created by man but still existing. The traffic laws, the laws of IRS, the laws of the state, they are all man-made. If you violate them, you can be punished. And then there are the universal laws of God, like the laws of motion. Newton discovered some of them when he said an object at rest or at motion will continue in that state unless acted upon by an external force. You've studied that, right? So these are the physical laws. And then there are the subtle divine laws that control existence. And one of them is the law of karma. This law of karma is very much like the law of action and reaction, or cause and effect. It says that every cause will lead to an effect. When this is applied to our thoughts, our actions, our works, that is the law of karma. Karma pradhan vishva kari rakha, jo jas karai so tas phalu chakha. The law of karma says, whatever you do will have consequences. So be careful about your every action, about your every thought. The law of karma also explains why you are responsible for where you are in life. Very often people have this tendency of playing the blame game. You know, it's all my parents' fault that I'm not so successful. It's the fault of society. It's the fault of God. It's the fault of the government. It's so easy to fall into this blaming mode. But the law of karma says no. You took choices all through your journey in life. And the consequences of all those choices is that you find yourself in a particular situation today. So the law of karma tells us it is our responsibility. And that is why we now have the onus. If I am responsible for where I find myself today, then it gives me hope. If I am not satisfied with my state, all I need to do is to change my actions and to change my thoughts, and I'll find myself in a better place tomorrow. So the law of karma helps bring out the best in people. That is the reason why God has it in place. Just like, for example, now, if you play well and your team wins, that is an incentive to play even better next time. But if the scores and results have no correlation with how you played, then everybody will be demotivated. Forget it, it really doesn't matter. That is why later on, when you grow up and go into the corporate world, you will find that there's a performance appraisal system. Your boss will evaluate your performance and help you in your promotion. Why is that performance appraisal system there? Because people need to learn this fundamental principle that to rise, you have to work, think, and do better. So on the universal level, this is the law of karma that God has in place. The law of karma will also punish. Somebody came to a Hindu acharya and said, Swamiji, you know, I'm so miserable, my family situation is so awful, my health is bad, I lost my job, my house got burned. Why did God do this to me? So the Acharya said, that's because you are a rascal and you did many sins in past lives. Now that apparently is a very harsh answer. I'm a rascal and I did many sins. But it opened that guy's eyes that if I am in a terrible mess, it was my karmas from this life and past life. And if I wish to improve my lot, I need to improve my karmas. So this, at the subtle level, the law of cause and effect is the law of karma. It exists in various forms in other religious traditions as well. So the Bible says, as you sow, that shall you also reap. In the Sikh Dharma, the Buddhist Dharma, the Jain Dharma, the law of karma also exists. And as the Hindu philosophy is getting more and more prominence, and gaining influence, these words are getting adopted in the English language. So somebody once told me at breakfast, Swamiji, would you like to try almond milk? I said, let me check the box. And the box said, good karma proteins. So I said, look, this is proof that mainstream has now adopted the word karma. They're saying meat is bad karma proteins and almonds is good karma proteins. So in brief, that is the law of karma.
Teach children not to have opinions unless they are formed from facts, or beliefs which may reasonably be accepted as facts.
Yeah, I like it this way. I'm not stupid. Phew.
Man, that guy is the red grin grumble to pretending he knows what's going on. Oh, you agree, huh? You like that red grin grumble reference?
Yeah.
Well, guess what? I made him up. You really are your father's children. Think for yourself. Think for yourselves. Don't be sheep.
Teach children that cigarettes, liquor, narcotics, and overindulgence in sex destroy the power of will and lead to the habit of drifting.
Literal droves of young drifters chanting whatever it is that the quote-unquote devil tells them to chant via their favorite rapper, singer, and or celebrity, thereby giving power to an energy that has unknowingly yet obviously overtaken them all. And unless we teach the youth to reclaim the power of their own minds, the parties will continue. Remember the people in my dream about the time of change who were possessed and didn't know it? Yeah.
Do not forbid these evils, just explain them.
In other words, teach your children the nature of both good and evil, and allow them with the power of their own mind to decide for themselves which quality of experiences they wish to have.
Teach children the danger of believing anything merely because their parents, religious instructors, or someone else says it is so. Teach children to face facts, whether they are pleasant or unpleasant, without resorting to subterfuge.
Subterfuge meaning lying and deceiving, things that we know that narcissists do best.
Teach children to face facts, whether they are pleasant or unpleasant, without resorting to subterfuge or offering alibis.
Do you tell lies? I hope not. Sing and see what Tommy did.
So this is usually the target demographic age group where the seeds of narcissism can be planted and begin to grow. It's also the age group where we can uproot those seeds and plant new ones, literally shaking the devil out of the children, like I did in my dream about the time of change. Check it out.
I hope not. Sing and see what Tommy did. Tommy broke the cookie jar. Tommy broke the cookie jar, then blamed his brother. I didn't break the cookie jar. I didn't break the cookie jar. You're telling lies. You're telling lies. It's not nice to tell lies. It's not nice to tell lies. You'll be called a liar. You'll be called a liar. Don't make it a habit. Don't make it a habit. Or you will repent. Or you will repent. Always tell the truth. Always tell the truth. And say you're sorry. And say you're sorry. You'll be happy you said so. You'll be happy you said so. And make many friends. And make many friends. Have you seen what Tommy did? Isn't he naughty? Always tell the truth and say you're sorry, rather than be called a liar, called a liar, called a liar.
Teach children to encourage the use of their sixth sense, through which ideas present themselves in their minds from unknown sources, and to examine all such ideas carefully.
Having knowledge of good and evil, and knowing that their minds create whatever it is that they think about. Considering what they wish to experience, they will make wise choices about which thoughts they hold on to and which thoughts they choose to release.
Teach children the full import of the law of compensation.
And we will discuss the law of compensation in the private No-Narc network on Oshun Ajay exclusive via Patreon. Again, the plans have been switched. The Emerald Tablet study is going to be a private Patreon-only book study. You will be able to access the Emerald Tablet study on the first level of Oshun Ajay exclusive. Also, there will be a bonus lesson regarding the law of compensation in the private group for the private No-Narc network only, okay? If you wish to support the channel, click the PayPal or Cash App links in the description or join me on Oshun Ajay exclusive or Badass Witch exclusive, okay? All of those links are in the description box. This ends lesson 21, my people. I hope you all join us for lesson 22. And until we meet again, peace, love, and prosperity.